New York City has more millionaires than anywhere else on the planet. But how did these people earn their wealth?
That's a good question.
Or were they just born into it?
I give them nothing.
So I set out to find out more info about these successful residents of New York in all different industries, from nightclub owners to entrepreneurs.
And that's how the idea for Venmo started.
To learn more about what they do and how much money one can make.
The ceiling doesn't exist.
And hear their secrets for success.
Just when you want to quit is when things are about to take off.
So first up, we have a very special guest. She is a fashion icon, as well as Time Magazine's top 100 most influential people. And now we are about to head to her Soho Loft apartment to learn from her about her wildly impressive career. Okay, Jenna, so first up, what exactly do you currently do for work?
That's a good question. Currently, I work at a company called Fundamental Co., which is a brand strategy company.
And I know that you have a very impressive and extensive resume. So can you give a quick breakdown of all the things that you've done so far in your career?
I worked at J.Crew for 27 years. I started as an assistant. By the time I left, I was the president and executive creative director overseeing J.Crew and Madewell. I left there, did a television show called Stylish with Jenna Lyons. Then I started a line of eyelashes. I have done another television show that you might have heard of called The Real Housewives. I have done a few other bits and bobs in between, and I have landed where I am now, which is doing brand strategy, which I actually love.
What made you first move to New York City?
Well, I went to Parsons, and they have a critics program, which is basically where a designer will come in and look at your work and tell you whether you're good or not. And the critics in California were Carol Little and George Marciano from Guess. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I looked at the list of critics in New York, and they were Marc Jacobs, Calvin Klein, Donna Karan. It was just, the firepower was real, and I felt like if I was going to do this, I should do it in a place where like the competition is stiff. I didn't want to take it easy. I wanted to know if I really could do it. I
know that you went to Parsons, but what a lot of people don't know, especially being in New York, I feel like when I tell people I live in New York City, they either think I'm a Nepo baby or I come from money. You, I know, have a really interesting story.
I definitely am not a Nepo baby, did not come from money. My mom was a piano teacher. And interesting enough, the only reason I was able to go to Parsons is I was in a car accident. And I got a settlement from the car accident, and that is what allowed me to come to New York and go to Parsons. We would never have been able to afford it. My first apartment was on the Lower East Side. I lived with roaches and rats and a bunch of crackheads.
That's the rite of passage in New York City. Everyone needs that at least once in their New York City life.
It's funny that you say that, because I do think my son is getting a totally different experience of New York. It is nice. You feel like you really earned it. But yeah, the rats were not the best housemates, so I'm happier with the animals I have now.
Yeah, now you have your 2 dogs and 3 cats?
We have 2 dogs and 3 cats.
What made you want to be on The Real Housewives of New York?
Just wanted to try something completely off the wall, something that was not expected from other people and certainly not expected for myself. And it was fun. I'm really glad that I did it.
So it's just mostly like a reality show?
It's only a reality show. Not mostly, only.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't more though. Maybe I have a little crush. Bottoms up, Jenna.
Okay, I'm gonna go and watch it now.
You might need to watch at least one episode.
I will. I'll of course watch the season that you're on, the only one I care about. When you were in Parsons, did you ever imagine that you would one day be the creative director and president of J.Crew? Was that a goal of yours, or did the universe just lead you there?
I didn't know what jobs even existed in fashion. I didn't know about stylists. I didn't know about makeup artists. I didn't know all the different kinds of things that happen in fashion. All I knew was you could be a designer. And all I saw was Calvin Klein and Donna Karan. And I never thought I would be that, but I just aspired to work on clothing and make beautiful clothes. It made me happy. And I didn't have it as a goal. I never dreamed I could have it. It wasn't on the menu.
How much of your success do you credit to living here in New York City?
I don't think any of what I've experienced I could have experienced elsewhere. Part of the reason I came here is when you leave Parsons, you have the connections of all of the people within the school. That the network that you leave with is important. I also think the city is inspiring. You can walk out of your house at any given time and there's either a terrible outfit, an amazing outfit, a kooky outfit, some crazy person, something I've never seen before, something I've seen. There's something here all the time, and I was bored and kind of lonely growing up in a small beach town, and I love it here.
Do you have any advice for aspiring people in the creative field that want to achieve a similar level of success that you have?
I think the thing I see so much is that people assume that there's like a quick route, and there just isn't. Every single person I've met, I mean, again, it's like winning the lottery. There's some people that win the lottery. That happens in life, it happens in jobs, yes. But for the most part, it's all the same. Like, it comes from work, it comes from doing something you love, and it actually, like, you have to put in the time. I worked my ass off, and I cannot believe that, like, there's this idea now that, like, I'm not going to stay past 6. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. Like, I know that work-life balance is important, but I also think, like, when you're young, it's one of those moments where you can actually grind, and it takes work. It does not happen just because you show up.
So our next guest created a business that we all know and love. He has also been a huge inspiration of mine as I do create my new wellness tea company, Belief. And for those of you guys who have been following along on this journey as I do build this company, I did just want to quickly say how we are having our holiday sale where you can get 40% off the entire website. We do currently have 3 products, which is our ginger lemon jumpstart tea, as well as our sleepy time tea called our Recharge, which has chamomile, magnesium, adaptogens, and then floral flavoring. And then also our boost tea, which has black tea, yerba mate, guayusa, and berry flavoring. So if you do want to try it, all you have to do is go to drinkbelief.com and the 40% off will automatically be applied. And now, time to go meet Iqram. Okay guys, so I just sat down with my friend Iqram. Iqram, give a quick introduction of yourself.
Hi, I'm Iqram. I live in New York City, grew up in Zimbabwe, moved all around Africa. First startup I built was called Philofunk with my best friend / roommate in college, Cortina. We eventually built Venmo, and now I'm here working on Jelly Jelly in New York City.
So I'm born and raised in the Metro New York area. This is all I know, and it's built me into the person that I am today. Do you think being from Zimbabwe has built a lot of the attributes and character traits that you have?
Absolutely. I had the rare opportunity of seeing in Zimbabwe was the value of the Zimbabwe dollar quickly rising. So we're talking going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 100,000 to 1 million to up to 1 trillion. So I lived in an era where in Zimbabwe I saw the inflation, like super hyperinflation. What was interesting about that, it almost gave money a sense of meaninglessness, where like now this money is worth nothing. So it actually forces people to form different ways of collaborating.
That is so insane. I forgot because Zimbabwe had like the craziest hyperinflation out of anywhere in the world. Wow. That is insane.
It gives you, like, imagine building a company around payments and having seen that.
And can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with the idea for Venmo, and also if it seemed like a crazy idea at the time, or did you know that this was going to be huge?
The idea for Venmo came actually in New York City, bar right down the street, literally 2 minutes from here. I had come up from Philadelphia to hang with Cortina, my best friend. I forgot my wallet. I left it in Philadelphia. I'm putting his credit card on a round of drinks with my friends. I'm buying brunch the next morning with him. I'm inviting all my friends, And then we're having our final dinner before I'm going back to Philadelphia on Sunday. The bill comes. Cortina and I are sitting at the dinner table. We had a friend with us. And that's when we were like, we had that eureka aha moment. It was like, this is where we need a way to pay each other back with our phones. And that's how the idea for Venmo started. Next day, built the prototype. And I would say, even in our first executive summary, Cortina and I were like, this is going to be something everyone's using. We see it coming.
And ultimately, you sell the company. So what was that feeling like when you woke up and there were just millions of dollars deposited into your bank account?
Well, it was refreshing. You know, it was in some ways it gives you room to breathe. Like, it's like, wow, I don't have to worry about paying rent or like laptops and all these things that you're buying, and then you're just trying to live off debt, basically. So I think my parents also probably were like, felt a little more comfortable. You know, there was a little more money in the family kind of vibe. It was amazing.
Do you think living in New York City has contributed to some part of your success?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, to the point where I even met a bunch of the engineers that worked at Venmo on the streets of New York just wearing a Venmo shirt. So it's like, there's something beautiful about the serendipitous nature of the interactions that take place in New York. You know, you can cross paths with supreme talents in all facets of life.
I mean, you and I met at a 4th of July barbecue, and it's just like, that's the nature of the city. You don't know who you're sitting next to and how everyone in the city is so interesting. All right, so you build Venmo, you sell Venmo, now you're building another tech company. So can you tell the people now about Jelly Jelly?
Jelly Jelly is a casual, authentic way for people to post videos, and it's got a hook. You can post what you're seeing in front of you and your face at the same time. You also have the ability to receive tips and also send and receive money, but our money is built on crypto. So in some ways, it's like a video Venmo.
Are there ever days that you wake up and you've had doubts? For myself, as building smaller businesses, some days you just have those days where you're like, what am I doing here? Should I be doing this? You're contemplating all your decisions you ever made to start this new business. So for someone with your success and experience, would you say that's normal?
That is very normal. Just when you want to quit is when things are about to take off. Look, I'll be honest, I've had those moments at Venmo where I'm like, man, I don't know if I really want to do this. I have it at Jelly. I'm like, are we doing the right thing? Is this how I want to be spending my life? You have those ups and downs. If you're an entrepreneur at heart, you're always fighting some kind of battle that excites you, that you want to push through, and that's just in the DNA.
What advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs that want to be in a similar position that you're at?
Go for it. You have to start. That's the key. Start and get yourself momentum as soon as possible.
So what we can see from these interviews so far is that for everyone, it all starts with an idea. But you know that feeling when you've got the great idea, but the hardest part is actually starting? Well, that was me years ago in my tiny NYC dorm room trying to figure out how to launch my first business. I had the vision, just not the tech skills or budget to build out a fancy website. And that's exactly why I wish something like Durable existed back then. Durable is an AI-powered platform that helps you build your entire business in literally seconds. So all you have to do is type in what your business is. I'm gonna say I am a personal trainer. Answer just a few more questions. Listen to some New York City sirens. Name of your business, Bodybuilding with Brett. And just like magic, our website is built. Obviously, change out the photos and fill in the text, but man, this is insane. And with Durable, it includes your domain, SEO tools, analytics, your blog, all in one place. They also have AI chats that can assist with marketing, finance, and customer service, as well as the Durable Studio that can make AI logos and marketing assets. So if you have been putting off that idea, now is the time. Head to durable.co and use my code BRETT30 for 30% off all plans. So now we're going to meet with my friend Jake, who works in private equity. And when it does come to numbers and finances, is definitely one of my smartest friends. And private equity, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially a firm that buys and sells companies. All right, Jake. So what do you do for work?
Private equity advisor. So I work with private equity firms and their portfolio companies on what's called commercial due diligence, or sometimes called a market study, as well as post-close we do growth strategy work.
So if someone does want to get into private equity and finance, especially here in New York City where it is so competitive, what advice would you have for someone trying to do that?
The old adage of your network is your net worth is definitely true. Like, I got lucky.
How did you get your first job?
A mentor pushed me in the direction of looking at PE after I was already in general strategy consulting. And then after that, I truthfully got lucky and like a headhunter reached out on LinkedIn, and now, and you know, how I got my next jobs after that was networking and just being in the city.
As you're starting off in private equity here in New York, what's a typical salary that one can usually make if they're 21 years old, fresh out of college?
Fresh out of college, you're looking at six-figure salaries. It's the glitz and glam, if you will, that like draws a lot of people in. A typical salary for someone in their 30s in New York is looking at anywhere, and it's a wide range. There's a lot of things that go into PE compensation, and so you have your base salary, you have bonuses depending on how the firm's done. And then if you're directly out of fund, once you're in your 30s, you're maybe around a VP level, which is when you get what's called carry. So you own equity in how the fund's doing. So if one of your portfolio companies sells, you will then make money off of that transaction. Or if you're at a consultancy, you're maybe at a partner level and you're getting profit sharing, and all of those can be huge kickers on top of your salary. So the range can really be anywhere from like a few $100K to $1 million. It kind of depends on where you're positioned and how the firm you're doing is at and what your compensation package looks like.
And Is it like in the movies when people work in finance that they're working from pretty much sunrise until late into the night? Or is it actually a lot more of a relaxed job?
I don't know if
I can already tell by that laugh that the movies are probably accurate.
But it's definitely a demanding job. Back earlier in my career, I'd start most days around 8:30. I'd work till 2 a.m. probably 3-4 times a week. There's usually a 4 a.m. day in there once a week. It's pretty intense.
When I did decide I wanted to move forward with starting Belief Tea, I remember I came to you first because, as you guys can tell, Jake is very good with data, analyzing companies, so this man helped me out a lot.
It's always far more fun to work with friends on their businesses than to look at something that's like maybe a little too far out there where you haven't touched it. But working with a friend is a different kind of reward.
Any other advice you would have for someone who is starting off their career here in New York City to get into the finance world and grow a career similar to like what you've done?
I think put yourself out there is the biggest one. Like, don't be afraid to take one on the chin. It happened to me a ton of times in my career, and I think one of the biggest things in the industry, and I definitely suffered from it a bit earlier in my career, is like everyone wants to sound the smartest, be the smartest person in the room, especially in such a competitive field. And I think sometimes, and it certainly did for me, you don't ask questions because you feel like it's a dumb question. And as I've gotten later into my career, I've realized that there's no such thing as a dumb question. And so always ask the question, because 9 times out of 10, someone else has that too, and they're just scared to ask it. And so like, I'll preface it by saying something like, hey, silly question, to kind of break the ice that it could be like a 101 level question. And that just helps you advance quicker. When you kind of like leave your ego at the door and just are there to learn and grow, the ceiling doesn't exist.
How much of your success do you credit to being here in New York City?
A lot. So it's funny. I moved to New York not wanting to live in New York. And now all these years later, I jokingly say, I don't know if I actually like it or it's Stockholm Syndrome. I think I actually like it all these years later.
I like that.
But New York is like, I didn't want to move for all the reasons that New York gets a bad rap. It's noisy, it can be dirty, it's intense, it's really hard. Like, New York acts as almost a natural filter. The energy is contagious and the people you bump into are just all around good people. They'll help you push you and get better. So I think New York's been a big part of my personal and professional development, but I definitely moved here not thinking I'd like the city, and now definitely a lifer. Fallen in love with New York. No place like New York.
So next up, we are gonna go to my favorite sports bar here in the city to meet with my friend that owns it, as well as 10 other bars and clubs here in New York. This should be fun. All right, so we are here with my friend Thatcher. Give a quick intro of what you do.
We do real estate deals on bars. We shut them down, renovate them, create a brand around that new space. So this is called Rocco Sports and Rec. We opened this 2.5 years ago. It's an elevated sports bar.
So I know even you do a lot of nightlife stuff from bars, clubs, restaurants, but I know you do so many other things. So what else do you do besides being involved in the nightlife business? Like, this is your car, one of your cars right here.
Yeah, I import cars that I love, vehicles that I love. This came from Italy, vintage 98 Defender. That's just for fun. That's not, my partner's and I created a dating app called Circa, where you connect your contact book and it only shows you friends of friends.
So I know you own 10 different bars in the city?
Currently 9.
9?
Yeah.
Can you name them all?
Rocket Sports, Unveiled, Virgo, Music for a While, Creatures Rooftop, Kind Regards, Ding-a-ling.
Do you still own the place above the Five Guys?
Yeah, we have the Garrett
Great
and
spot.
Bandits. Yeah.
How did you get into owning bars in New York City? Where did you get that first capital from?
Well, to start out, we had no track record, so we kind of pulled our own money into it. And friends, close friends who believed in us and our vision. But yeah, it started with one bar deal in the West Village. We did an off-market deal on a bar above Five Guys.
What is typically like the margins on a bar? That's good.
Better than a restaurant.
Okay. Because it's usually 10% for a restaurant, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's better. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the margins aren't great, but
it's funny that a lot of these questions I'm just genuinely curious about. Like, we've been friends for a while now, and I'm getting to learn even more and more about what you do. So where did, I guess, even more of your, let's call it wealth, come from? Was it from these bars that you all own, or was it something also before? Is it a weird answer?
Came from nothing. Yeah, I had an automotive e-commerce business when I was young. I did pretty well with that in Seattle.
You also co-own like a car selling garage.
We consign vintage cars for other people. Most of my collection is for sale. Like, this is for sale. I don't really want to sell it, but it's for sale. My first success story was from independentwheel.com. I was a 23-year-old kid in Seattle. I recognized a niche opportunity in the automotive industry where it's really hard to get three-piece wheel components for race cars. So I sourced this one company that was selling everything. So I bought up their whole inventory, remarketed that for a different brand, and built a website, and it worked.
Can I guess how much the rent is for something like this, and you say if it's over or under?
Sure.
Okay, so we're in the heart of Manhattan, right on 3rd Street and Broadway, in NoHo. I'm gonna guess $30,000 a month.
Market rent on this space would be 30, yes.
So it's
that's a very
accurate.
good guess.
Okay.
Thankfully, we're under. Otherwise, we wouldn't have signed this lease.
Why did you move to New York? Because you're originally from Maine?
Yeah, I grew up in Maine, on an island in Maine. I moved here just for more opportunity, more social interaction, more life. I wanted to have more fun, have more exposure to interesting opportunities.
And it's been worth it so far?
It's been amazing. I love it.
Yeah. How many years have you been in New York?
12.
What piece of advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs that has helped you with the success that you've gotten so far?
That's a good question. I would say if you're feeling like things are a little stale and you're not getting enough exposure and opportunities, you got to mix it up and move to a new city.
So you're a product
totally
of your
mix
environment.
it up. Yeah, totally. And also helping my friends around me. I love helping people around me to figure out their dreams and figure out what they want to do.
I can attest to that with being friends with you now for a bit, getting closer with you. I've noticed how much you've gone out of your way to be a good friend to people. So I've always respected you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So let's go into Rocco's. Let's play some basketball.
Yeah.